Alright, so this is another somebody else's reading. I think I'm down to like the last few of these. I think I only have two more of these to do after this. But, I didn't want good readings to go to waste. This is doubt and fears. So maybe you have some doubt and fears and maybe you can relate to this. But this is somebody else's reading that didn't pay me for this reading. So we're going to enjoy and salt their pain more or learn something. We're going to do something. It's always a tool for some type of lesson, maybe. Okay, so we're going to do all these right side right because it's fun to confuse some people. So Seven of Cups is illusions, psychic bonds. We have the Magician, skill, and letters. We have the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles is satisfaction and engagement. We have the Judgment card, which is illumination and the right choice. We have the Four of Wands, which is happy home life, moving in together. I'm trying to do most of these on retained information because I haven't done tarot readings like this in a while. Mostly from my first reading on this channel. But, it's been a while. Mostly I do in-depth readings where I kind of like just draw some charms out of a bag and then I do people's readings, or I have other cards that I like using better. But these ones, these cards are a little different because they're things that I found online and printed off. But, yeah. You can get your tarot cards wherever you need to. But, okay. So what do you want, or what do they want? Technically, this is somebody else's reading, so. There's a grindstone here. And there's an interchange, growth, new traits, involvement, or improvement. There's also progression and exploration. So there's somebody here that's not sure what the hell they're doing or what they want. They're just drifting in and out of consciousness. And with the death card, it's usually Scorpio energy. So Scorpios are sometimes more sexual than focused, sometimes. Usually the immature ones are. But if you're focused, you'll be more financial suited to like get money or to do well in your job, to get promoted, to become a manager, or get ahead in your own career and your own brand. So, depending on where you are in your life, if you're an immature one, you could be going for the more sexual path. And if you're more of the business type that has your shit together, you're kind of balancing everything, trying to get your brand out there. So, depending on where you see yourself, it could be either or. Okay, what motivates you? We have winter. So, wrongs in life, we have equality for all. We have the ethical behavior and fairness for everybody. Oh, boy. Um, it's a very socialist stance, but with me, I don't believe that there should be equal for everybody. Like, for people that work for it, they should be able to get it. People that don't work for it, they need to get their stuff together, and get going. But it's kind of a weird thing, that you want it for everybody. You know, I don't know. It depends how you see the world. I see the world very business oriented. Like I want everybody to do well in business because I love buying things. I love talking to people about their businesses. I like being in that atmosphere of knowing like the backstory to people's businesses because I'm nosy like that. I like that shit. Other people, you know, they want something for nothing, and there's no motivation to do better because you get it handed to you. There's no motivation to win. There's no feeling of achievement, and it like loses all meaning after a while when you actually have to try, which is a problem. I grew up in X generation and the millennial generation right before cell phones. So like we went to our friend's house on bicycles and we played either video games, board games, or we had like sleepovers and shit where we listened to music and like talked about dreaming and played MASH or whatever. But like nowadays it's like you don't know who your friends are and who's not your friend and all those. It's very dramatically like, you know, keen on becoming popular by any means necessary. Um, and some people take advantage of that too, so it's better to be careful. If you get something for nothing, you treat everybody like they're an ATM machine, you're entitled to their stuff, or you tend to steal things when you're just entitled to other things. If you work hard for your stuff, you value it more, and it's very sad when somebody has worked for it and then somebody else who's entitled takes it away from them, you know? It's very fucked up. Like, my brain can't wrap myself around that. Like, knowing that somebody worked their entire life to achieve that one thing that somebody else takes for granted is ridiculous. But I digress. Um, what do you need to release? Hope, love, happy families, dancing with happiness, harmony, love left open, hearts that are tender, tender-hearted souls, long-term relationships. I feel like some people don't really see long-term relationships because divorce, thank you Ronald Reagan, were put into place, and some people take that as, like I said before, a very entitled establishment. Um, I take it as a sacred one. I was raised Catholic and Methodist, so I got two ends of the same stick basically. But Catholics are very like guilt oriented. Like you're a sinner, you're guilty of being alive. Then you have Methodists, and they're just so happy that you're there. You know, it was a very strange way to be raised. But I liked being raised with my foster family because like they believed in like the gospel church, so it was like a lot of gospel music and a lot of like base values and mutual values that were kind of like this is family, this is a sacred place where you can kind of kick your feet up and just be yourself. And up until that point, I didn't have that stability in my life. So it was a nice thing to come home to and just be like, yeah, this is me, this is who I am. I learned like jazz, I had a clarinet, and I did a lot of hip hop dancing. Um, it was fun. Like, you know, with my mom, we can't agree on music. Um, I listen to a lot of heavy metal. She listens to a lot of classical and a lot of like pop music from her generation, like the Beatles. The Beatles, I only like two songs. I'm not a big Beatles fan. I'm more of like a heavy metal fan. I've followed the genre, probably most of the 90s. Um, I did listen to some pop music. I listened to some rap. I listened to a lot of different things. Mostly hip hop because I grew up on hip hop. And then I moved back with my mom, and you know, it was fun. Um, for her to explain to me what classic music was and rock music and things. It was interesting. I love my mom, but she's an Aquarian. I am an Aries Pisces, so a lot of things that she thinks that are cool, I think I could do without. You know, just the way it is. And that's kind of what this reading's talking about. Some people picture the white picket fence and it doesn't fit their personality or morals or politics, let's put it to you that way. um, mostly people have to think about long-term results of you're going to be alone for most of your life. How are you going to fit that into your philosophy? Or if you are going to be married, what are you going to have to give up in order to make that marriage work or to feel fulfilled within a pairing, you know? But a lot of people don't know how to navigate that type of situation because they weren't meant to be um, subservient to somebody else or to backpedal their own career, you know, that type of thing. So it's either you give up everything you want or you kind of give in to somebody else's ego. I don't know, but some people that make it work, there's a lot of give and take in there. Um, but you know, you do have to kind of have that talk about what you're giving up in order to achieve a relationship because sometimes the other person doesn't realize how much you give up when you're in a relationship. Some people make it into a codependency, which isn't good because then you lose yourself in the tapestry of the relationship. You're allowed to be yourself in relationships usually, um, but you do have to kind of find your footing and what you're good at and stuff like that. So universal guidance, we have wanting a break, tiredness, yearning for peace, vacations, and relaxation. We have a wingman. So somebody could be wanting just to take it easy for a while. We also have universal goals here with dark eyes, dark brown hair, or black hair. Either male or female under the age of 30, coming up with tactics. There could also be massive regrets in this relationship, either currently or in the future. Um, and since this is nobody's in particular, there could also be somebody that's coming in that could be different from your usual type. So, okay, changes for success. We have progressive or possessiveness. We have saving money. We have protecting your assets. We have wealth. We have the builder and worker. We have hard worker, and we have a wiser. Anybody know what a wiser is? No. A wiser is kind of like a high priestess, but it's like a male priestess. So there's a widow's bonnet. So this this could be a thing where somebody's in the military or army or away for a while, and then it just like the relationship falls apart and there's a divorce or there's somebody that moves away from the relationship and it makes somebody else very single because like they grew apart, which does happen in relationships a lot of times if you don't know who you are or what you're doing or you just don't have a foundation of your belief systems or what you two can vibe on or whatever. But this reading is kind of like somebody who's kind of getting into a relationship or out of a relationship based on own belief systems or traits that their parents had. I'm going to put that out in the open really quick. But yeah, if you're somebody who idealizes the white picket fence, you do have to look realistically into your own culture and upbringing, and it's going to shadow that experience. And if you didn't heal from certain wounds, it's not going to be a very uplifting situation. It could be a very downgrading um, thing because you're not a whole person, and then you're looking for somebody to make you a whole person, which could be a problem. Okay. Um, you do have to heal. You do have to understand your own limitations, your own boundaries, and things that make you who you are. A lot of people don't get self-actualized until much later in life, especially if you have a Capricorn in a high placement of an odd numbered house. But yeah, usually in chart ratings, wherever Capricorn hits, you're going to add 20 years to that number. And that's when you start self actualizing. Um, so if it's the 10th house, you're going to self actualize at age 30, um, or so on and so forth. I self actualized when I turned, I think, 30. But that's when you get more stable. Your brain matter starts getting a little harder, and shit starts falling apart. But whatever the case is, whether you're going to be in a relationship for a long time or you're going to be in a relationship for a very short time, you should always remember who you are as a person. And if it feels like who you are is being squeezed in a relationship, it is time to leave that situation. Um, because if you feel like you're being squeezed or they're forcing you to be a particular way or a certain person or a certain ideal, you need to get out, because it becomes abusive after that. Once they know that they can control you, it's a very tightly wound, kind of like a cult following type of thing, which keeps twisting the vice. And then you don't know who you are if you stay in that situation. So you do have to know who you are as a person. Stand firm with that. Don't compromise who you are as a person. Compromise on what your skill level is. With me, I don't like to cook a lot. I need a spouse that either likes to cook or likes to order food out, because sometimes I don't want to cook. With me, I do stir fry, I do noodles, I do some homemade stuff. I started making bread again. I don't know why I didn't keep making bread. It would have saved a lot of money in sandwich bread, but anyway. Um, yeah, you do have to know what your skill set is and what you're willing to do for a relationship. If you're not one of these people that has anything to offer the relationship or counterbalance it out, then it could be a bit of an issue. Like, you don't have to be good at cooking. You could be good at making things, building things, furniture, starting your own business, um, bringing money into the house. I know that's not a skill most people have, but you don't have to have a substantial job to bring money in. You can have like a side gig that you like doing as a hobby that brings in a lot of money, or you kind of have a different meaning to what you want to bring to the table or how your house is modeled after. You don't have to have the cookie cutter factory wife husband type of relationship, you know. And it doesn't matter who you are. If you think the cookie cutter way of living is okay and you want to be like Melrose Place or that Wrinkle in Time story that every time I think about it I have nightmares, do that. But it's not as long term, substantial, hey, we're growing together type of experience. It's very downgrading. It's very like, if I change, shit's gonna get real. And if you ever watched the movie, what is it? Bride Wars with Anne Hathaway and what's her name? I always forget her name, but I love her as a actress. I always forget her name though. It's the blonde-haired one. But yeah, they have a friendship and then they fight, and then Anne Hathaway's character's relationship falls apart, the first one, because like she changed as a person or she became more self-actualized as herself, and they broke up, and then she found her friend's brother attractive and they got married at the end of the movie and all that other shit. But anyway, if somebody has a problem with you being yourself, you shouldn't be with that person. With me, I am I'm too much muchness for a lot of people. But I am more myself a lot of times than I need be, but I've been under this rebirth train with my cusp being in Pisces and Aries for a long time. So it's hard. Anyway, hopefully this helps somebody out. I know it's a lot to take in, and I get that. But you have to know who you are before you become part of a relationship, and you have to understand what you're going to be giving up, and a lot of stuff that needs to be settled and all this. Alright, anyway, I'll see you later, okay? Bye.